You know what I love about indie games? When they take the time to make a game right, you get a game made by gamers, created for no other reason than their love of video games. This is one of those games, Aila. In a world where people store large amounts of money in their bathrooms. Actually, that's pretty normal for an RPG. Your characters are blue, red, yellow, black, green. That's very rude. The truth hurts. No, that's the opposite of what this game's about. Your characters are prisoners. They've had their memories wiped and even their names taken away. Every day they're forced to fight on a game show called Xenogenocide, which seems to double as military research. They pit you against mutants and robots they create, and only the winning team gets to eat. There's no hope of escape. This place is an absolute death sentence. Then, one day, the facility is attacked, and all the prisoners escape into the world. It's a straightforward RPG made with RPG Maker by Neo Korea. It doesn't have much in the bells and whistles department, no fancy skill systems, no materias, no espers, just one special ability per character. But what it does have, well-made characters, a complex plot where you could play out any of 3 different sides, or even change sides mid-game. And quite a few surprises. The game was designed for you to replay it. It allows you to keep certain items as well as a lot of money. You can skip the intro and monologue, jumping straight into the action. And it warns you if a choice you make would start you down a path you've already played. Then, when you've played through the 3 different paths, Loyalist, Independent, and Rebellion, you get to play the 4th path. Almost every complaint I had about the game was satisfied with this final path. It gave me everything I wanted. While there aren't too many different kinds of random enemies, the ones they have are quite good. My favorite are these robots here. They stand creepily still. Then, suddenly, all at once, they rush you. The only real complaint that I still have is that there are several areas that you go through on every single playthrough. I understand you'd use the same chipset, but is it really too much to ask to move around the crates and enemies a little? The worst offender is the sewers. The sewers were okay the first time, going into and out of them to get around the abandoned city, but then you go through them again. Down, up, down, and again, and again. But on top of that, 2 of the paths drag you through a second set of sewers near the end of the game. Look at this. It's just a bunch of squares. It's the most uninteresting place in the game. Why would you use it twice? Gah! The weapons are especially good in this game. Not only did the author do a great job differentiating all the different types, shotguns, handguns, rifles, magnums, dual guns, and machine guns, but also they can have all sorts of modifications, disabling arms and legs or inflicting other status effects on hit, increased or decreased accuracy or damage, costing MP to fire, or dealing elemental damage. Not to mention the X-guns that every character gets. All in all, this game is professional level. If someone handed it to me on a Super Nintendo cartridge with a name like Enix or Capcom on it, I wouldn't have doubted it. I'm not saying that it's the greatest RPG ever made, but that it's solid. And if you're an RPG fan, then you'll like Aila. But wait, there's more. There's a demo recently put out by the same author. it's a remake currently called Alter Aila Genesis. It was a little hard for me to find. If you're watching this at Gamersnark, I've included a link to download this, as well as the original game, and an interview with the author. The game is a side-scroller, which is weird in an RPG. And at first I felt like I should be stomping Goombas. But you get used to it. There's a great deal of art in the cutscenes, which are very well executed. Many new areas were added, and old ones expanded greatly. You really get a sense of what their world is like. You can really feel the effort put into the battle system, too. There's a great deal of strategy to combat now. You tend to rely heavily on items, particularly during boss fights, which are frequent and quite difficult. Especially this one. It was probably a bug, but there were no random encounters in the dungeon, and one of my characters was like level 5. This fight was just ridiculous. My favorite boss fight has to be the Horde of Fallen. Too many RPGs just throw a bunch of boring random encounters at you to represent a horde, but this feels like an overwhelming horde and also makes a good encounter.
What do you mean my characters are not enough? I just kicked his ass!
The characters are a little different from the original. I'm not going to go into all of the changes, but to start with, they have names now. And while Red had been bloodthirsty and vulgar, now he's threatening and dangerous. And whereas Green had been the caring and motherly character that everyone was afraid of for some reason, now she's caring, motherly, and scary as hell! The plot has also been altered in a number of ways. The abandoned city is now home to a refugee camp, and
you know what this means, don't you?
Huh?
You'll have to go through the sewers again.
What? No, not again! Oh, come on! Even my characters are objecting! Actually, that wasn't so bad this time around. Another good thing about this game is that it has a better variety of enemies than the original. Jet biker gangs, evil robot gnomes, Jello, evil Pokeballs,
a blarb!
Whatever these things are, and flying toilets that attack you by releasing toxic gas?
What is with this series and excrement?
Whatever. The best thing about this remake is the battle system, and I can't seem to find anything truly bad to say about what's featured in this demo. Wait, what am I saying? I gotta be able to find something wrong somewhere. Let me look again.
Oh, don't give me that. This lot doesn't stand a chance against me.
Aha! This! Picture of Tinder. Neo Coreo, with all the art that was put into this game, and the spriting, mapping, coding, balancing, and everything else, how could you have possibly overlooked the fact that you put this one bad picture in? Care to explain yourself? Huh? Yeah, that's all I got. This is an excellent demo, and the finished product is definitely something to look forward to. And enough has been changed that I'm going to consider this a different game from the original and recommend playing both of them.